how to be a more decisive person, actionable steps that you can take to be a better decision maker. First thing that you can do is build confidence in your decision making. What goes into this is to stop overthinking. When you overthink, what happens is that you don't make a decision. And you think you're not making a decision by thinking, you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick the best decision, but that in and of itself is a decision. Indecisiveness is choosing not to choose, which then leads you to outcomes you probably don't want. Overanalyzing leads to that indecision, and what you can do to overcome this is set a time limit to make decisions. So what I do is, okay, I have 2 days to make the decision, and I'm gonna choose and I'm gonna let it go. Or if it's a small decision, I'll give myself 5 minutes. Whatever it may be, I'm gonna give myself 5 minutes to choose, and then I'm not gonna worry about it. And so a good example for me in this kind of relates to my belief in myself. So in the past, I used to have a lot of self-doubt. So I had this self-doubt, and I was like, oh, I get all hard on myself, and that was a choice to believe that way. And so what I started to recognize is if I just flip that on its head, what if I just believe in myself? What if I just said, you know what, Chris, I believe that I can do this. And so now what I do is I can recognize how long does it take for me to flip that self. When I feel that self-doubt and change it to belief, how long is that time to do that? And that's how I measure my speed. And so what you can do with your decisions, let's say you were really indecisive about what coffee you're gonna get in the morning or whatever. You can start to measure how long it takes you to make that decision to see how good you are at not overthinking anymore. The second one within building confidence in decision making is to trust your gut and subconscious. Typically, your gut and your subconscious is based on past experience and knowledge. So what you could do is look at, okay, so is your past experience and knowledge good in this area? If it is, I would encourage you to rely on your gut and subconscious. Because what you can do to measure that is what the decision was, what your instinct told you to do, and then what the outcome was. And if you look at those three things, you can start to measure how well is your gut and subconscious. And if you recognize your gut and subconscious isn't telling you the right thing to do, it's important to accumulate the knowledge and experience necessary to make the right decisions. And then you can rate it on a 1 to 5. So 1, you were unsure or you made a bad decision. 5, you were really sure and you made a good decision. And you can use that scale to help measure your gut and subconscious, because it's really hard to measure that. It's like, how do you measure how right your gut was with a certain decision? This is how you can do it. And then the third and the final thing within confidence and decision making is you're never gonna be perfect. More or less over time, successful people and unsuccessful people make the same amount of wrong decisions or mistakes. But the key difference is how they react. Successful people react differently than unsuccessful people. Successful people will take it on the chin and be like, okay, this is a better story. I'm gonna keep going, I'm not gonna quit. Whereas unsuccessful people will quit and will stop. So what you can do is measure yourself how many mistakes you've made and how many you've continued to go and not quit at. But also you can ask yourself what you did right. Because I used to be a victim to my perfectionism. I used to think, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? But I had to flip that on its head and ask myself, what am I doing right? And that had been a really helpful metric for me to measure what am I doing that's not perfect, but I'm still reaffirming myself that I'm doing things right to continue going. The second thing that you can do to become a better decision maker is to break big decisions down. I had a choice between master's school and going into coaching. So what I had to do is I had to prioritize my options. So I go to master's school for 3 years and become a therapist, or I could enter the coaching space and start working on business. And so what I did to measure this and to understand was this the right decision is I asked myself, what does 10-year me look like? What is my 10-year visualization of myself? Who do I want to be? And the conclusion I arrived at is that I want to be a business owner. So going to master's school for 3 years may have not served me being a business owner. Yes, if I wanted to be a business owner as a therapist or a solopreneur, that would have served that. But I want to be a different business owner. I want to have a team. And so going to school for 3 years, instead of just entering the business world and getting 3 years of business knowledge, would be much more valuable for me to do. So you want to prioritize your options because there is an opportunity cost to big decisions. Me pursuing coaching right now does have an opportunity cost that in the future, if I wanted to be a therapist, I could have used these 3 years today to become a therapist. Same thing as if I had gone to master's school, I'm using the opportunity cost of the 3 years that could be used towards my business acumen. So you have to ask yourself, what is that opportunity cost and what is your 10-year visualization look at yourself? Typically, if you just expand the time horizon, it becomes easier to look at. If I think about me right now, in the next 1 year, yeah, it'd be great to go to school and make $200,000 a year once I'm out of there and have my own practice. But if I think about me on 10 years, 20 years, what do my goals look like then? It may change what you want to do. So what you could do is you can break down the key elements and actionable steps. smaller components or immediate steps to build momentum. So for me, since I chose the business route, it's important, okay, what's the first step I can do to build momentum? For me, it was to start reaching out to people. Before that was to build an offer. But once I built that offer, it was then to start doing cold outreach, to market myself, make my things known, or advertise. And so that was what I did. Same thing for weight loss. If you want to lose 20 pounds, well, yes, it would be great to lose 20 pounds tomorrow, but you have to take those small actionable steps to get there. So that is probably comprised of getting a gym membership, going to the gym for the first time, those things. So if you break those big decisions down, it makes it a lot easier to choose those things. Because if you wanted to lose 20 pounds, there's a hell lot of different ways you could do that. But if you decide, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go to the gym to lose 20 pounds, then you break down your small decision instead of just having this goal of 20 pounds and having no way to get there. Finally, to become a better decision maker, learn from your past decisions. That's gonna be one of the most valuable things you can do. And two of my insights are, number one, action early. What I found is I usually know the answer to my decisions. I usually know what I need to do, but I just delay it due to pain or procrastination. I just don't want to do it, it'd be too hard to do, or I'm procrastinating. Yeah, I'll do it later. That's what I've learned, is that taking action early is typically, I know what I need to do, so now I've just tried to, one metric I try to measure myself on is how short the time is that I act. Go from thought of, yeah, I probably should do this, to action. So right now, one of those things for me is starting a school community. So right now I'm working on my cold outreach and my marketing and stuff like that, but there's another thing in my mind that I need to do, that is starting a school community. So I need to take action on that, and I've already made the decision I'm gonna do that, if that makes sense. The second and the final thing within learning from your decisions is to reflect on them. Take time and reflect. What are the common factors in good or bad decisions? In your good decisions, how long do you wait to make them? What are the factors? What environment are you alone? Are you talking with your mentors? Are you talking with your family? In your bad decisions, are you drunk? Are you making decisions within 30 seconds? Are you making decisions within 2 weeks? What does it look like? And if you can understand those common factors, what you can start to do is be like, okay, I make better decisions when I'm at home alone, thinking about what I want in the future, and I'm fresh and whatever. And I make bad decisions when I'm out making 30-second decisions and I'm drinking alcohol with these friends that don't really serve me. And then you start eliminating those common factors and adding common factors as well. And a pro tip to this is actually that you can do the same thing for an ideal day. It's kind of not the same or related, but if you think about your ideal day and what days look amazing to you, think about, okay, in the past, what have been really good days to you? So for me, I found that working and going to the gym and having a long, productive day of hard work is a great day for me. And so, okay, I just start stacking those common factors that make a good day and eliminating the factors that make a bad day. And then you have a great day. And you can have great days all the time by just looking at the factors that go into them, because sometimes it can be mysterious. And the final thing when you're reflecting is looking at, did you make a long-term or a short-term decision? So when you're making those decisions, like, okay, was I short-term minded or was I long-term minded? That's something that is a factor, but I think it's a really important factor to look at. So that's how to stop second guessing and how to be decisive and take action every time. If you enjoyed this video, please comment and I'll make more of them.